You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
It is Friday. Good afternoon, good evening, all. Miami Dolphins v Baltimore Ravens preview episode. It's a big one, a lot of exciting things. As Hannah Montana's in the background, like I weren't going to record a podcast. Amateurs. But before we introduce our guests, get into everything, make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the good social medias. And if you're feeling generous, give us a subscription over on Patreon /Go Time Dolphins. But Charlie Touche, how are you?
Woo! It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and it is the day before Kadeem. I'm excited for this episode. We're just gonna bring in the guests real quick.
Wait, no. I have something to do before we bring in the guests.
Oh, okay.
So it is obviously the new year or like Christmas or stuff like that. So I got you something. I apologize, it isn't in physical form, but I hope you appreciate it nonetheless. Let me get it ready. And apology to our guests as well. But Charlie, Merry Christmas.
Hey! Nah, look at this. What's going on over here?
So for all our audio listeners, it is a Go Time Dolphins Charlie Touche Funko Pop. When I said I spent, you can ask Drakey, about all afternoon, about 6 hours trying to get this perfect. So yep, Charlie, Merry Christmas.
Bruh. But I'm about to tear up, man. This is awesome, bro. Like, listen, all the audio listeners, man. I know we try to get you over to YouTube to check us out on YouTube, but Kadeem has delivered once again with this action figure of Charlie Touche, and it is awesome. This is one of the best things I ever seen in my life, man. Dude look pretty clean too, pretty fresh. He matches. Got his Dolphin gear on, got his lensless glasses like I do. Like, listen, man, this is phenomenal, man. Like, I don't even know what to say. Thanks, Kadeem. I appreciate this, man.
You are more than welcome. And before we get our guests in, let's look at the comments very quickly. Oh, need the comments. Shout out to Eccentric Gnome. She says, good fin flipping afternoon, everyone. Kadeem Simmons, Charlie Touche. I think Dolphins will win the Ravens 45-25 and win the Bills 45-10. Robert Ashton said, good evening, everyone. Set my alarm special for this upcoming for work in 3 hours. Sleep is for the week. Mr. Fanatic has the Dolphins emoji. Hooked Up Joe says, Fins up Friday. Keith Bender said, good evening, gents, and chat from a cold and blustery Scotland. Hooked Up Joe has his prediction 31-21 Fins up. And then, Tim Carroll says, wow, that's amazing. GTD Charlie Pop. Drakey says, content message this afternoon. He says, K for the win. And Hooked Up Joe says, that is UFB. Excuse me. I don't know what UFB stands for. I'm a bit old, but we have guests. Charlie, introduce them.
Fins Up Friday. We got guests. Guests that needs no introduction. They've been on this episode, I'm about to say hundreds of times. Maybe over 5 times, you know what I'm saying? But listen, same old Dolphins, Josh and Aaron Kasker. Welcome to the show once again, man. We appreciate you guys coming in, rocking with us. I think the last time you guys were on, we had some technical difficulties, and you guys ended up like co-hosting our show by yourselves, something like that. I can't remember what happened, but when I watched it back, it was epic. It was like one of the best Go Time Dolphin episodes, and we weren't even on it. How about that?
Well, I'm always happy to be here with you guys. You are one of my favorite podcasts. I try to catch every episode. In fact, I was listening to Go Time Dolphins, the last episode, on the train earlier today on my way back home from New York City. So always a pleasure to be here, and if necessary, ready to jump in and just host the show if the internet fails. So let's go.
That's how we do it. It was UFB, which I believe stands for unbelievable.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it now. I do get it now. Kadeem, bro, listen. Like when I said that was like one of my favorite episodes, I'm like, bro, this is like pay-per-view right here. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't even on the show, and these two are going at it. I'm like, and not only that, their professionalism, there was like no fumbling either. There was like, I don't know what to do here. They disappeared or nothing like that. It was just, if I was an audio listener, you would not have even noticed that something went wrong on the episode. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys, man. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a Dolphin fan, man. Kadeem, you want to jump in?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, something's happened very, very quickly. There we go. You guys can see that, okay?
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Oh, I got to take the hat off for that one.
That's why I said, like, you never wear hats.
Hey.
All the opportunity to do this with no hats, and you wear a hat on.
Yeah.
Yo, this guy's on a roll. So, hey, Kadeem has a Aaron the Brain, same old Dolphins Aaron the Brain. What's it called?
Funko Pop.
Funko Pop.
Yeah, I still don't even know what you're saying. But like, yo, this is epic, bro. Like Kadeem's just dropping bangers right now, bro.
So
this is awesome.
And obviously, we obviously have one more.
Oh
So
no.
you say, oh no, it's all good. It's all good. I literally spent about 8 hours doing these today. And when I say doing them, it was all AI. But I bugged the website. That's how much I was doing it.
Oh, this is oh, man.
Yes.
Oh man, listen.
Look at that.
Has his, and all of these look like money. Like the backwards hat. He got the same glasses on right now. This is too good. Where's yours, Kadeem? I need to see it.
Hey, are these in production? Like, where can I get this?
That's the most annoying thing. You can't. I spent like the only, I guess, images, but if possible, like it's just the most amazing thing. So mine, I know we've got other stuff to talk to, but also, no, this is a lot of fun.
No, this is the whole podcast. This is the whole episode right here.
We got the Kadeem one also. That's got to be coming next. Yes, let's go.
The beard. He got the beard. He has a beard and a beanie. Oh man.
I have so many like ones that didn't make the final cut. I will send them all to you guys. You've all got your own little different ones, and Jordan got one. Drake has got one. Yeah.
Kadeem's look mad, like he's mad at Charlie for some reason. Like, dang, bro, like you upset, bro?
I'm all good.
Kadeem's got like a very powerful microphone in his hand. I feel like everybody else's microphone is kind of like a little bit like, everybody else got kind of like smaller microphones, but Kadeem is like, bam.
Nah,
hey,
there was.
Is this the first episode that we had same old Dolphins on since Aaron the Brain made an appearance on the Bleacher Report thing? Remember the cartoon images? You remember that? Y'all remember that? There's like this image.
Oh yeah.
Was it Bleacher Report?
I think it was like, what was it? But it was like the Tua is not the answer guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was Bleacher Report. Maybe it wasn't. But it was one of those cartoon things going on.
Oh yes, yes.
Aaron the Brain was there with the either T-shirt or a sign. I couldn't remember.
That's right.
That's Aaron the Brain for sure. Like that is someone hit that to a T. You know what I'm saying?
Except that I've never been a Tua is not the answer guy.
I guess that's a pretty important piece of information we should throw out there. So look, man, the Miami Dolphins are at 11-4, one game out of the 1 seed, and that game gets decided in 2 days. There's so much we could talk about, so much we could go to, and without just having the podcast conversation, I really want to talk about just like as Dolphin fans. Me and Kadeem, we live it up on the episode. We have people in the chat. Shout out to everyone who rocked with us in the chats, man, and we just bounce stuff off of each other. For you guys, Josh and Aaron, as Dolphin fans, longtime Dolphin fans, I know you're a little reserved maybe, but are you enjoying the joy on the journey?
I mean, I'll go first. I just think we, our kind of our brand, I guess, is that we try to keep things at arm's length because we've been hurt by this team so many times. But that being said, throughout the season, we have both said that this season is special. At least it's going in a direction where it feels like it could be special. And you would be foolish to allow your cynicism to get in the way of your enjoyment of the football team, because it has been, whether or not there's, because people always tell us, oh, you changed the name, they're not the same old Dolphins and blah, blah, blah. And, believe it or not, it's too early to make that call. But the fact of the matter is they don't look like the same old Dolphins. And it has been years. I mean, we're talking 30 plus years since the Dolphins have had a product that has been this consistently fun to watch, right? I mean, 2008, okay, I'll give you that. That season was this is probably the most fun that I've had watching the Dolphins over the course of a season since 2008. But we remember how that 2008 season, ended. It ended at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens. But it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. And to have, seemingly real meaningful football every week with this team has been a gift. So I think as much as we try to keep an arm's length, like I said, when it comes down to it, you have to just enjoy what you have, because who knows when the next time the Dolphins are going to have a season like this again. So I'm having a blast this year. What about you, Aaron? Sorry, yeah. I don't mean to hijack the show.
Oh no, go ahead.
I pretty much echo that. I think, does this team still have a lot to prove? And, has there been a lot of tension because of the expectations? Yeah. And because the expectations are so high, and maybe because of the way the team has been built, and maybe you don't perceive this to be a huge winning window, it puts that much more on every single week this season. So it's more stressful. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl or win a championship really in any sport, that's what it's like. It's if you're a real hardcore fan, I guess everybody fans differently. But for me, anytime I'm fully invested into a team, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, maybe not so much baseball because the season's so long, but every game kind of feels like it's amped up because you have a championship expectation. And so every game feels more important. And that's where we're at because this team is so good. And so statistically, this team probably is the best Dolphins team that we've seen in 30 years. And I think realistically, even from just a narrative standpoint, I think this is a team that has a chance to prove something that, and we haven't even seen a Dolphins team that has gone into a game like this, where you've got 2 weeks left in the season and you're playing for a number one seed and you really feel this is legitimately a Super Bowl contender, or they can really prove it this week, probably since like 2002 or 2003, whatever that year was, where we had the number one seed after we beat the Raiders, and then we lost the last 2 games of the season and ended up missing the playoffs. Now, thankfully, that's not going to happen this year, but the journey has been fun and it's worth enjoying, because I think more so than even all of that, the fact that this is a fun team to watch makes it enjoyable, because, even that team back in like 0203, where you're quarterback by Jay Fiedler and you're just a dominant defense and you've got Ricky Williams and you're running games, but you're winning games like 20-17, like every single week. Like, it was boring football to watch. This team is legitimately exciting and fun to watch. And so it's appointment television. And so even if it's more stressful and maybe they still haven't hit that peak and proven what we want them to prove yet, it's still been really, really fun, and you'd be a fool to not enjoy it.
I gotta apologize because we didn't even bring you guys in the right way. Like, Kadeem just came in with all kind of stuff and it threw everything off. But listen, same old Dolphins. You guys are actually going live after this episode as well, right?
Yes.
So you guys are going live on the same old Dolphins platform. Make sure everyone listening checks them out, going live after this episode. Josh and Aaron Kasker, we appreciate you rocking with us on this episode, man. And usually it'll be tell everybody where they can find you before the show starts and after, but we kind of got off the track. You invoked the name Jay Fiedler. I believe I have an autographed football somewhere around here by Jay Fiedler. I'll try to see if I can find it in a second. But you said expectations, championship expectations. And I don't know that Miami had legitimate championship expectations in the past 20 years. I think it was more like hopes, championship hopes in the past 20 years. Last year, I think, I don't even know if last year was an expectation, but this year for sure, before the season started, it was a championship expectation. So now when the season gets going and we're getting closer, and then you lose a game like to the Titans, which, by the way, had we won and we would be streaking right now and beat Dallas and everything, everybody would be like, oh, did the Dolphins peak too soon? You know what I'm saying? I hate stuff like that. Oh, did they peak too early, right? So now that we lost to the Titans, it's like the perfect get right, get your mind right type thing. But I'm a swing it over to you, Kadeem. We talking about expectations, talk about hope, talk about like something that you haven't seen, Kadeem, as a Dolphin fan. Like you've been going through. It's almost like, man, and I gave my hat to that Uber driver in England. And I'm like, bro, once you're a Dolphin fan, you can't get out of this. You know what I'm saying? And he wanted to become a Dolphin fan. I gave him my hat. He became a Dolphin fan. I'm like, I don't know. This is the team that you really want to get behind because it comes with a lot of heartache. You know what I'm saying? So for you, Kadeem, what's it like to finally feel legitimized? Your team to be like, oh, yo, we actually have a real team now, and we might do something this year. Wasn't your preseason prediction 12-5?
I think so, yeah. Before I delve into that, so many comments to get through. We probably won't be able to get through every single comment this week, but I'll try my best. So, Rob says, sup all. Eccentric Gnome says we need to make the Funko Pops happen. Hannah Montana says, hola. Robert Ashton says, GTD and Same Old Dolphins, this could be the best crossover episode since Homer Simpson appeared on Family Guy. Rob says, royalty in the house. Moiety V says, fins up. Tim Caro says, listen to Same Old Dolphins loads. Never actually seen you guys before. Honored guys. Keith says, welcome to the Katska Bros. Hannah Montana said Hannah didn't get one. Hannah did get one. She's just being silly right now. I can help myself. Hannah, can you turn that down, please? So that IMAX says hello, go time Dolphins. Who else we got here? Robert Ashton says, Mr. The Brain, love that by the way. Sir, so much respect to you for abstaining from the Kool-Aid for the good of the team. I appreciate your restraint. Hopefully, only short time left for you to abstain.
That's a deep cut. That's a good one. That's
oh man, it is. If you know, you know.
This is coffee. It's not Kool-Aid.
We have an amplifier to rock saying what's up, chat, and an Alan Kasker saying talk about expectations, Family Guy, and Simpsons. So yeah, expectations. It feels weird. I think when I started my Miami Dolphins fandom properly, we were 3-0. We had just beat the Raiders in that epic Albert Wilson and Jakeem Grant high five as they were like running into the end zone. It was like, hey, 3-0, this is great. Like, I've picked one of the best teams. And then the season progresses, Tannehill gets injured. And since then, it's kind of been well, if I don't expect anything, I can't get hurt. And I think right now, I'm still not trying to expect anything because I don't want to get hurt. Because like you guys said, it will be quite, as I said it in the group chat earlier, if we don't even clinch the AFC East, I'd be disappointed. If we don't make the AFC Championship, I think I'd be disappointed. To me, it's not about losing to Kansas City in the playoffs or Baltimore in the playoffs. I think we should be beating these teams. And listen, they'll say the same thing about us, but the way this team is set up right now, you probably don't have too many years of where like everything kind of falls into place. And if you look at even someone like the Browns, yes, they lost their starting quarterback, but Joe Flacco is, playing really well. You would expect the Dolphins to beat a Joe Flacco's Cleveland Browns. The Chiefs aren't what the Chiefs normally are. You would expect the Dolphins to beat a Kansas City Chiefs team which aren't what they are. The Bills aren't what they are. So, listen, you can only beat what's put in front of you, but that optimism is difficult to keep it down when this looks like if the Dolphins are really going to make a genuine Super Bowl run, this is one of the best chances they're going to get, you would think, for a while.
Yo, so this is just too good. When are you guys going live? Like, because I don't want to hold you guys too late, but what time are you guys going live?
We're going live when this is over. So whenever this is over, we'll take a little break.
All right,
we'll turn around and do ours.
Because I don't want to overlap. So how about this? We're gonna have a surprise giveaway for someone, and all of us are gonna be involved. It's gonna be a surprise giveaway at the end of this episode. Make sure you guys hang around. This is just too good. This is what this is like when you haven't seen a relative in a long time and then they pop up at a house like, we didn't even know you were in town. Oh my goodness. Hey, this is what it feels like right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we talk to you guys often, social media. You love your relatives. You talk to them on the phone, you text them and stuff, and then next you know, knock on the door, they're in person, like, oh, they're here. You know what I'm saying? That's what this episode feels like. Though I invoked the giveaway, this is not what we will be giving away, but I found a Jay Fiedler football. Shout out to J Rob.
Nice.
Jay Fiedler, number 9, signed this football. J Rob shot this to me. One of my best friends for life. GTD supporter. Shot me that football. So Jay Fiedler, the face of Dartmouth. That is the college, right? He went to Dartmouth.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Hey, listen, man. Hey, we know a little bit of something here on Go Time Dolphins. We know a little something. You feel me? So now we do got a giveaway coming up, and I think it's gonna be probably the funnest giveaway we ever had. Like to get it going. But listen, all right. So Baltimore, and I asked this question to Kadeem. Baltimore beat the number 1 team, the best team in football last week in the 49ers. Like, handled them boys easily too. For my dollar, Baltimore is the best team in football right now. If Miami goes to Baltimore and beats Baltimore, does that make Miami the best team in football, Aaron?
I think it does. I mean, you could take that for what it's worth in week 17. It doesn't,
right.
It's nice at that point. It's not the goal of the season. But yes, if Miami beats Baltimore, they will be the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they will have just beaten the Ravens, who had just beaten the 49ers a week prior. So yeah, I think, in wrestling rules anyway, the Dolphins would have the championship belt.
What about you, Josh?
I mean, yeah, if you beat the ball, I mean, I think it depends. Because it's not like a lineal championship. It's not like there's transitive properties in the NFL. I think the 49ers are, for my money, probably still the best team in the league, but Baltimore just beat them. So if we beat Baltimore the week after we beat Dallas, that says something good about us, right? I think saying that such and such team is the best team in the NFL is completely subjective. And ultimately, as Aaron indicated, after 17 weeks doesn't mean anything, because we've seen it happen before where a team has been the best team over the regular season and they get to the playoffs and they lay an egg, and that's what, and then it's over.
Yeah, right.
So while I will say this, if the Dolphins go into Baltimore and get that win on Sunday, you will hear a lot of narratives officially start to change, because there's a lot of people who have been talking about the Dolphins and downplaying them. And in some cases, I think not unfairly, right? But there are also those people who are looking to move the goalposts every time the Dolphins cross another threshold. And you saw it after the Dallas game. You had people coming up, if the Dolphins win, this is a legitimate win. And then they go and they beat the Cowboys, and then it's like, well, Dallas can't really play on the road and they have problems, but Dolphins, blah, 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 blah. Nonsense. If the Dolphins go into Baltimore the week after beating Dallas and beat the Ravens, the narratives are going to start to change, and it's going to be undeniable. And then if they follow that up by beating Buffalo in week 18 and they go into the playoffs, having defeated in consecutive weeks the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills, then they get a week off. Buddy, that the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC is coming through Miami, and it's going to be undeniable at that point, because everybody right now, Buffalo is a media darling. Because, MVP Josh over there, people will overlook some interceptions to let the media heap some praise on MVP Josh. But if we knock him out of the playoffs, or at least beat them in week 18, narrative's changing, baby.
Real quick, have you guys been keeping up with Hard Knocks at all? Are you guys caught up? All right, hold on. So I wasn't sure if we could go here or not. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I know for my dollar, I had the Dolphins going 13-4 this season, and I took a step back and I said 12-5. Right? So when they told us Hard Knocks was going to be on the Miami Dolphins in season, I didn't love it, but I liked the idea, like, yo, I get a visual of this now. Not only did I'm like, listen, we get behind the scenes stuff. I don't want my team to be distracted. Our quarterback is not Brett Favre. Brett Favre comes out, throw 3 picks in a row. It's not gonna affect him at all. Tua comes out, throw 3 picks in a row. It's gonna mess with his psyche. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, yo, I don't really love the cameras for that reason. But it's still like, yo, you're a professional. You're about to get paid over $40 million a year, bro. You gotta get right. That being said, what did you guys think of, real quick, the Dolphins getting Hard Knocks, and how do you guys feel about Hard Knocks now? Kadeem, have you seen the new episode? And if you have, go ahead and start us off.
I spent 6 hours trying to make Funko Pops for you guys. Like, that was my plan this afternoon, and I spent all afternoon trying to get the perfect Josh, Charlie, and Aaron Funko Pop. So no, that's my plan tonight when I get into bed. So apologies, I can't partake in this conversation. That's totally my fault. I had to take, that's my fault.
Spoiler alert, they beat the Cowboys.
Hey, we beat the Cowboys, man. Yeah, man. I didn't want to tell you. But yeah, we beat the Cowboys. What about you, Aaron? Right? How you feel about everything with Hard Knocks? And did you like it? Did you not like it? Stuff like that.
When the news broke, I mean, my initial thought was, this is really cool. And then I was like, well, this team probably doesn't need the distraction. They don't really need the media attention. But at the end of the day, if you're good enough, you're good enough. So everybody's got to do it. It's going to be really cool as a fan to take a look behind the curtain. So I was excited about it. A little bit of trepidation, with how they would necessarily handle it. But I thought, especially with a young coach and a team that were really, even though, the nucleus has basically been together for 2 years, we're still kind of getting to know this team as they've developed, which is, it feels weird to say because they've been on this crescendo now and they're on this journey. But, 2 years ago, this was a completely different locker room with Brian Flores. The identity of the team was completely different. And, to me, it was just like, well, I want to really see, like, I see what I see on the field. and obviously Mike McDaniel and the creativity on offense and, you know, our ability to put up points and everything. But I want to see the way these interactions are. I want to see what the energy is like in that building. So I was really excited to see it. And honestly, I haven't been disappointed. I was a little, you know, the first episode or two, I was like, I don't know. Like Mike McDaniel seems like he's super amped in these meetings, but the players don't really seem all that interested. But I even said at the time, I was like, am I really going to read that much into it? Because at the end of the day, like, I watched the Jets in the preseason and their players seemed super into what Robert Saleh had to say. And look at them. They're a dumpster fire. So you take that for what it is. I just think it's cool to see the interaction and get to know these guys a little bit better behind the scenes.
Josh?
Yeah, what I love about it, we've all seen the Miami Dolphins official cinematic recaps that their marketing team does, right? They put together these incredible videos that are like 7 minutes long, and they're like an awesome kind of like behind the scenes. It's not really behind the scenes, but it's just like an enhanced look at the game highlights. But you only get that when the Dolphins win, because the team's putting it out directly. It's propaganda. That's all it is, right? They're just trying to get people fired up for the team, which, I mean, that's literally their job, right? But it's Miami Dolphins propaganda. It's coming from inside the building. And while Hard Knocks is certainly getting approved by the team, and the team gets a final say as to what goes out there, it is still a look at what is actually happening. So you actually get a look at what is happening when the Dolphins are losing that game and blowing that lead against the Titans. And the following week, you're getting that footage from inside the building when the team is responding to that loss. And you're seeing that reaction, and you're seeing Mike McDaniel take ownership, right? All of us have sit there. I've been very critical about Mike McDaniel because I think he's a brilliant play designer. I think he's built a brilliant scheme. But when it comes to play calling in the moment, that's where it leaves some things to be desired. And to see him actually on that show take accountability for some of his shortcomings as a play caller is, I think, really great. And that's a look that we're not getting otherwise. Right? We might hear Mike McDaniel come out and do a press conference and take accountability in a press conference, but you know, that could be lip service as far as we know. To see a camera, have cameras and mics in the room and to actually hear it, I think it's awesome. And as you know, as Robert Ashton in the chat is talking about, you know, when his football team, when Sunderland had, I think we've even talked about it on this show, Sunderland Till I Die. When you have that opportunity to like go behind the scenes of something like that, it's almost emotional in a different kind of way than it is, because you get to have access to the stuff that you wouldn't normally get to see and you wouldn't normally get to hear. I was always, of course, afraid that it might be a little bit of a distraction, but at the moment it doesn't seem to be. And at the bottom, you know, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, is they got to go out there and they got to play football, and they're doing that. And I don't think the fact that Hard Knocks is happening is something that was, you know, something that contributed to them blowing a 14-point fourth quarter lead against Tennessee. So I love it. I think it's great, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. And I love the fact that it's just going to keep going until the season ends. So hopefully that's in Vegas.
I did not know that. I thought it was just going to be a handful of episodes, right? And I'm like, all right, they're going to get in and get out and let us focus later on in the season. Not only are they not getting in and getting out, they're with us until the season ends now. So whenever our season ends, hopefully it's on my birthday, February 11th in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the episode. So knowing that, I just found out this week that they're going to continue the whole season, right? I think they just said it this week that they're going to continue the whole season. But anyway, listen, to see Coach McDaniel, and this is not actually true about McDaniel. Like he gives off to me like some Disney movie character that grew up in a rich family that his dad passed away and gave him the football team, and he's the coach of it now, and he can do whatever he wants with it, and he's playing it like a video game, and he's having all the fun in the world, right? But obviously that's not his background. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's just having so much to see how genuine of a person your coach is, right? There's no other, you know how teams try to emulate, oh, we need a coach like this. You can't, there's no other McDaniel out there. You're not going to find another Coach McDrip out there that we need that in our locker room. It's not going to happen. You could go ahead and find your rah-rah coaches, your defensive-minded coaches, your hard-nosed coaches. Mike McDaniel is one of one, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I'm going to take it back to you, Kadeem. What you got? You on mute, champ.
Yep, of course I am. That's a Charlie thing. It's not a Kadeem thing. Apologies for that.
It really is.
No, on the Hard Knocks thing, just the fact that it's there until the end of the season, whenever the season ends. I think it's probably got to a point now where they don't even realize that it's there. It's like for anyone who ever watches Big Brother or those reality TV shows where the camera's on them 24/7. At first, you kind of pay up for it, but after a while, you just forget because you're just getting on with your normal life and stuff. And I think, yeah, it's probably a lot easier when you're winning and you're having so much fun and you're a good team, all that kind of stuff. I think for the Dolphins, for fans, I should say. For fans, it's that whole, the behind the scenes and how they react. And it's something which we I guess take for granted with like what Josh was saying with the cinematic videos that gets released and stuff like that. But no, it's great. It's brilliant. It's amazing. And yeah, I'm sure is it HBO? HBO that does Hard Knocks?
HBO, I love it.
I'm sure they're like, licking their lips at the prospect of a Hard Knocks with a Super Bowl champion in season, like, because you're probably never going to get that again. Next year, we're like, okay, who can we jump on board that's going to run to Super Bowl? And you probably get a team that's going to completely tail off and tank. And while that's great viewing and great viewership, surely of the all or nothing, Hard Knocks, all these kind of shows, to be with a potential Super Bowl winning team and see them, lift that's absolutely priceless. So, yeah.
But I'm gonna be a mess. I'm gonna have snot running out my nose. I'm gonna be crying. It's gonna be like I'm on the team, bro. It's gonna be bad, bro.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
Hey, you feel me? Hey, look, hey, appreciate everybody here. Hit the like button, subscribe button, all the good stuff. We about to turn the corner and get into the actual game and figure out how we're gonna get this done, if we're gonna get it done at all, and get everybody's opinions. Cause then you want to do no huddle, or you want to talk about the game real quick.
Well, I reckon we have to do no huddle to do the injuries, to talk about all the injuries and stuff like that.
There it is.
But also doing no huddle means you have to be ready for the Celtics conversion. So,
hey, listen, I figured this thing out. Like the comments, when I had the comments up, the comments are like in the stadium, like, and they're the fans. Like, yo, you gotta block the fans out, right? So I gotta turn the comments off, get them off my screen so I can lock in. And I'm ready for you, Kadeem. Let's do it.
Well, let me get the weather for Sunday at 1 p.m. Baltimore weather Sunday 1 p.m.
We ain't got the music, Kadeem?
You give me...
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Give me a while. No huddle music. Let's get the timer as well. Google search.
Yeah. Hey. Woo.
It's funny because I can't hear it, so I take it the music playing, right? There we go. Now I can.
Yeah.
Right, Charlie. The weather on Sunday is 49 degrees Fahrenheit, and your time starts now.
49 minus 32, 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. That's what I'm going with. That fast.
8.5. Let's have a look. Let's stop the timer. Let's get the music going. I've got so many tabs open.
Yo, we going to the playoffs over here, man.
Let's get rid of that. Stop screen. Charlie.
Yo.
What'd you answer?
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
Oh. 8 and 8. Back to 500.
Hey,
That's
we got
a
a
dub.
playoff push. We got a playoff push, man. I'm going to the playoffs, Kadeem. I told you, bro. I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
It was 9 degrees Celsius. So, yeah. Shout out to that.
Get it.
That is mental. What else is mental is the Dolphins injury report. So, I guess the big news during the week was on Wednesday. Yes, on Wednesday, when Tua Tagovailoa showed up on the injury report with a left thumb/quad injury. Turns out he picked up the injury in the first quarter against the Cowboys. Didn't report it until the day after. That's a whole other discussion for another day. But he was a full participant on Friday, and he is good to go. Jalen Waddle is out of the game, so there's no Jalen Waddle with a high ankle sprain, but it sounded like he actually had a slight chance, but I don't know how slight that chance was. Friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt, was limited on Friday. He is doubtful. These guys are all questionable. Lester Cotton, Liam Eichenberg, friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson. Raheem Mostert is in. Mike McDaniel already said that. Jalen Ramsey is questionable with a knee injury. Showed up an injury report on Friday. Devon Achan is good to go, as is Teron Armstead. For the Ravens, cornerback Jalen Armour-Davis is out with a concussion. Zay Flowers is questionable. Carl Hamilton is questionable as well with a knee injury. He was limited on Thursday and then got downgraded to did not participate on Friday. Deshaun Phillips is questionable, as is Brandon Stevens and Kevin Zeitler. Odell Beckham did not participate, but that was a rest day. And I guess that is all that is important over here on the injury side. Charlie, anything for fantasy?
If you have Jalen Waddle on your championship team in fantasy football playoffs, it's not going to happen. You got to look elsewhere. I don't think we have any Miami Dolphins that you could sub in for Jalen Waddle, so you're going to have to go elsewhere. Hopefully you got somebody on your bench. It's unfortunate that we got to go in here without Waddle, but you do have Tyreek Hill you're going to start. I don't know if we're going to start Tua this week, because it could go one or two ways. It could go, this game is a low-scoring game, like it was last week against the Cowboys, number one offense, number two offense, or it could be a shootout like last year, and it's the over-under is 70 points, right? It's just not likely. I think playoff football, you're going to have low-scoring games, hard-nosed football, and that's why I don't know if I don't think I'm starting Tua this week. Matter of fact, we're not starting Tua this week in fantasy football. We're starting Raheem Mostert, and by default, you have to start Devon Achan if you have him, because you never know when he's going to go off, if he's going to go off. Mostert's not 100%. He might get more touches, Achan. We're starting the Dolphins defense, and we're starting the MVP of special teams, Jason Sanders. He's a lock moving forward. And on the other side of the ball, we're going to start Lamar. We're going to start Zay Flowers, and we're going to start the Ravens defense, believe it or not. I don't love that, but we'll also start Justin Tucker. That's all I got.
I'm starting Isaiah Likely. Just saying.
Are you gonna start Likely?
Oh yeah.
Well, we're starting Likely. Per Josh Kasker.
Aaron, any fantasy tips?
You know, I actually have taken the year off of fantasy, and I've never enjoyed a season more. It's been
Mental
so
health is a real
nice
thing.
just focusing on actual football and not my fantasy roster and worrying about, do I have to stay up to wait for this guy to clear waivers to pick him up at like 3 a.m? No, it's been so nice.
Dude, in my main fantasy league, I traded for Mark Andrews. And then because I got him right before the bye week, so I was able to get him at a little bit of a discount. Mm-hmm. And then it was like right after that is when he came back and he got hurt in that game against Cincinnati and was out for the year. So I had to pick up Isaiah Likely, but Isaiah Likely is good. They haven't really had a drop off there. So Isaiah Likely is a weapon that the Dolphins are going to need to be prepared for.
Nah, I feel you, Josh.
I'll say this about fantasy football. I mean, you guys clearly play, full season fantasy football right now, but I think with the way the league has turned into like all these guys missing so many games with minor injuries, I just think season long fantasy football is dead. I think
I don't know about that.
well, maybe it's on life support. Maybe it's not dead because everybody loves to do their draft or whatever. But I think daily fantasy, I think, is way more interesting. And if I was looking at it, I kind of agree with Charlie's assessment. Although, I guess if it's a daily league, you're probably getting Devon Achane at a value, so then it might be worth it to play him. But I'm not feeling confident throwing Achane in the lineup because we really haven't seen this guy pop since the Carolina game. He's still dealing. He's not 100%. And at the end of the day, like if Raheem Mostert's out there and this team gets inside the 10-yard line, they're feeding the ball to Raheem Mostert at this point. I mean, this dude's a touchdown machine. So you're definitely starting Mostert. I agree with you. I'm not starting Tua. I would start the Dolphins defense though. And obviously you got to start Tyreek every single week. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said.
So real quick, because we're getting long on time. You guys got an episode coming, and I think our giveaway might take us some time. But Josh, you were in the Go Time Dolphins Fantasy Football podcast league, and for my $1, you messed up my season, bro. Like, because you took all my draft picks, you traded for people that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? You had the stacked team of the league, and you kind of blew it. What happened there, bro?
Dude, I was a victim of I drafted Jamar Chase, and he just kind of busted this year.
You drafted Chase, St. Brown, and AJ Brown, no?
Yes, and they were so Chase struggled at the beginning of the season because Burrow was playing with that injury, right?
Yeah.
So Burrow was playing with that injury, and Chase was struggling early on, and then AJ, before he exploded, got off to a kind of slow start himself. Like, my team was loaded. That team was loaded.
I just said Chase, St. Brown, and AJ Brown, bro. Like, you and Sherrod Steve had the best teams known to fantasy football, and both of you guys did not make the playoffs. I was so high. I'm like, yo, I don't know if these boys could get an invite next year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna play again, and I'm gonna say this because I get into this theory, right? If fantasy football, I don't want to turn this into Go Time Fantasy Football right now, but.
Why not?
Bro, you love to be like, okay, I want AJ Brown, so I'm going to trade you 6 guys for AJ Brown. I'm going to trade you I'll give you Saquon, and then I'm going to give you Trevor Siemian, and I'm going to give you Jake Bailey, and I'm going to give you, a couple guys at the bottom of my bench. And I'm like, dude, why are we doing 6 guys? I'm like, because I'm looking at the 6 guys and I'm like, there's maybe 3 guys on this team that would slot right into my team that I find value with. But I get AJ Brown is one guy and he gives me all the same number of points as those other guys. Right. So I don't need to trade him away. So that anyway, I don't, like I said, that's me. That's the way that I look at fantasy football. Is like I can get a 2-for-1 thing, rare occasions a 3-for-1 if it's 3 super valuable pieces, but when we get in a 4 or 5-for-1, I'm like, nah, I got, especially in a league where it's like no IR spots and stuff like that, it's like I don't have room for all these guys.
All right, Kadeem, start us off. I think you're about to go to the comments and then start us off with your prediction.
So, a few comments to catch up on. Robert Ashton says, Mike McDaniel is an inspirational person and leads by example, earns loyalty of every player, and because of that, you could never see a person in the organization. Sorry, because of that, you could see every person in the organization running through a brick wall for him. Then we get into temperature gate. Keith Bender said, looking forward to the temp conversion, first time seeing it live. Rob says, how on God's earth is Charlie 8 and 8?
Yeah, bro. Hey, don't doubt. I'm going to the playoffs.
Keith said 500. Charlie, Robert Ashton said a better comeback than Lazarus.
Let's go.
And then earlier, Eccentric Gnome said, I have a new name for the Ravens. They are now the Baltimore Crows. You know why Baltimore is now the Crows? Because Ravens are smart and Crows are just annoying. So Baltimore Crows fits them better because I don't think Baltimore is smart. So the Dolphins have Jalen Waddle out, but the potential of Carl Hamilton being out is probably just the biggest miss. I'll start with you, Charlie. How do you think the Dolphins can essentially make the most of a Carl Hamilton being out? Or is this game more about the Miami Dolphins defense containing Lamar Jackson? I don't think stopping him is the way. It's containing him so that, if you're in 3rd and long, he doesn't scamper for 13 yards to pick up a first down.
Am I also going into my pick and prediction?
We can do.
Yeah, so the only hope, in my opinion, for the Dolphins to win this game is if Kyle Hamilton is out. I think, and to answer your question first, this is not going to look like the game last season where we had to come back down 28 or something like that. I don't think that the Ravens get up that big of a lead on us on this defense. I think we're banged up a lot. So I'm going to answer your question first, though. Back to this Lamar Jackson thing. I think we're going to be able to contain him. I think he has to be the reason they win. It's not going to be his arm. It's not going to be their running game. It's going to be us. How much damage does Lamar do to us? And can he win the game by himself? Right? It's going to be him and their defense. So unfortunately for the Dolphins this week, it kind of matches up like that. We've been playing with 4 backup O-linemen for the past 2 weeks, and it worked out for us. And they haven't gotten a lot of credit, this O-line, but they've been keeping Tua clean. It's a lot to ask for week after week after week in real games, right? And then now you have Waddle out. You got a banged up Mostert. You have just defensive players. I think we're getting in front of the podcast. Javon Holland back. That's good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't see the Dolphins winning this game, bro. And maybe I'm saying this because I thought we were gonna lose to Dallas and beat Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? For anyone who didn't hear me say that, I thought we would lose to Dallas and beat Baltimore, but we beat Dallas. So maybe this is like the reverse psychology, Charlie. You know what I'm saying? But I think we lose this week, and I think we lose. I think Baltimore covers the 3.5 points on us too. What about you, Josh?
Oh man, so I'll say this about Kyle Hamilton: if he plays and he's able to play at his regular level, he's one of those game-changing kind of players. He is in a lot of ways he's the main communicator on that defense, right? It's kind of like how Deshaun Elliott and Javon Holland handle that communication in that Dolphins secondary. They're the ones that are making sure that everybody's on the same page. And the way the Dolphins disguise their coverages, the communication is key to that. Kyle Hamilton plays that role for the Ravens. If he is absent, it opens some possibilities up for the Dolphins to do some things in the air. Even without Jalen Waddle playing, it's going to open up the possibility for the Dolphins to create some chaos in that Ravens secondary. And let's not forget that it was chaos in the Ravens secondary in the second half of that game last season that allowed the doors to open up. I mean, yes, Tua hit those passes, but there were blown coverages left and right in the second half of that game where the Dolphins came back. So if Hamilton is out, you're opening up that as a possibility. But I think the other thing that the Ravens have that is going to be difficult for the Dolphins to deal with is, and again, I'm talking specifically on Dolphins offense, Ravens on defense right now, because I think that's where potentially the biggest issues are. These guys have some game changers on defense, particularly at linebacker with the Roquan Smiths and Patrick Queens and Jadeveon Clowney and Odafe Owe. It's like these guys got some dogs out there on defense, and it's going to be something that the Dolphins have to figure out how to deal with. I think there's going to be some ways that the Dolphins can attack, and I think part of it is If the Dolphins can get the ground game going, that's going to allow things to open up a little bit. And I think that's going to be the key, is figuring out how to get some of that breathing room for their run game. I actually think there's a world where this is a sneaky Jeff Wilson game for the Dolphins, because he's got a little bit more of that inside ability. And he's going to come up more up the gut, as opposed to Mostert and Achane, who are trying to get on the outside. So I think that's a possibility, but that's going to be the key for me. I think the Dolphins will, on the other side of the ball, as long as they can slow Lamar down, and man, when you get him. You've just got to finish those plays, man. I'm going to tell you, like, you're never going to stop Lamar Jackson. You just got to slow him down. But the key to that is going to be, if you can get your hands on him, take him down. Figure out that way to make it happen. We've seen this defense a couple times, a little bit in the game against Dallas. We're so close to getting a sack, but couldn't finish it. You got to finish it against Lamar. And it won't be easy, because he's an incredible player, an athletic player, and he's got, he's probably the odds-on favorite at this moment to be the MVP, and there's a good reason for that. So, gonna be a challenge. Gonna be a challenge. Do I have to make a pick?
Yeah, you gotta make a pick, champ.
Man, it's so tough. I think it's gonna be so close, and it's gonna probably come down one way or the other. Give me the Dolphins, 26-24.
26-20. That's a lot of points. I don't even think we're going to have that many points. I don't think the game's going to go there. I think it's going to be a defensive. I think it's going to look like an AFC North game. What you got, Aaron?
So the more I've looked into this game, the more I realize that statistically the Dolphins actually have the advantage, regardless of whether Kyle Hamilton plays. Because even though Baltimore is a great pass defense, you can run on this team. But the Dolphins, on the other hand, top five, basically best defense in the league, or right up there with anybody in the league since Jalen Ramsey has, come back from his injury. And they've basically been like, top five basically in every single category. And the other category is that they can get after the quarterback. The Dolphins are pressuring quarterbacks at a higher clip than anybody else in the league. They're finishing, they're sacking quarterbacks at a higher clip than anybody else in the league. And Lamar Jackson does get sacked. Like, it's not like Lamar Jackson is a Tua in that he's getting rid of the ball. Lamar Jackson is kind of the anti-Tua. Lamar Jackson is the guy that will beat you off script, unlike Tua. So he's going to hold on to the ball longer, and he's going to create some plays with his legs. The difference between Lamar Jackson this year and the Lamar Jackson in years past, number one, is that he's healthy coming down the stretch. And number two is that he's got more weapons to throw to that can beat you in the passing game. And so it's made him better as he's continued to develop as a passer. And so I agree with Josh's assessment that you're not going to stop Lamar Jackson. There's going to be a couple times in this game where Lamar Jackson gets out of contain and scrambles for a first down, and you're going to be frustrated. What can't happen is that one of those turns into like a 70-yard touchdown like it did last season. And what can't happen is it happening on like the last drive with the game on the line. You've got to be able to make those plays few and far between. And I think it's not just about when you get your hands on Lamar Jackson, bringing him down. I think it's how you pressure him. You cannot go wide nine and angles and leave him that alley where Lamar Jackson can just easily, because this guy, like, he knows what he's capable of. He's looking for that escape route. If nothing is open for him to throw to, if Van Ginkel takes a wide angle and he's got this alley to run, he's going to take it every time. So you got to be smart. It's not so much about getting sacks. It's about containing him and making Lamar Jackson beat you from the pocket, because that's been the knock on him, is that he can't beat you from the pocket. And he's doing it better this year than he's done in years past. But with a defense like the Dolphins have, with Vic Fangio scheming coverages like he's going to have, I think if you can keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket as much as possible and hopefully get some pressure on the interior, so Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, Bradley Chubb taking the interior pressures, maybe a timely blitz up the middle from a David Long or even like a Brandon Jones as a blitzing safety. I think those could be big plays, big strategies for this Dolphins defense. But I agree, you've got to contain Lamar Jackson. If you contain Lamar Jackson, it's going to be difficult for the Ravens to put up a lot of points. And then on the other side of the ball, you got to be able to run the football. I just think you've got to have balance. You don't need to get crazy about it. Like your passing game is your strength, but you've got to have balance. What I think of is, like last week's game, or I think it was even I don't even remember which game it was, but it was either last week or it was against the Jets. Whereas, like, numbers wise, the Dolphins didn't really put up impressive numbers on the ground. But what they did is they had balance, and they got tough yards on the ground when they needed to, and they put themselves in position with 3rd and short. You cannot consistently get into 3rd and longs against a really good defense. It's a recipe for disaster. And so that means sometimes taking a step back and being a little bit more conservative, running the ball, screens, take the 4 or 5 yard gain when you can get it, so you can get yourself into a manageable 3rd down situation, so you don't need to beat them with chunk plays. This team's going to have their chunk plays, but if you're relying on it solely and you're consistently in need of it, you're going to turn the ball over. It's just going to be a disaster. I think statistically the Dolphins have the advantage, but intangible wise, everything is going against them. Whether you buy into narratives or not, or these intangible things, the fact that they're going on the road, the fact that it's a cold weather game, the fact that you're going against a team that's been through it, that's been through these types of battles over and over and over again, and a coach that's done it. I think that experience matters, and I just don't trust this Dolphins team yet. Win this game, and I will totally trust that the Dolphins can do no wrong. They will be the favorite at that point. But for me anyway, not that it matters, not that they need to prove anything to me, but for me, I need to see it before I believe it. I think the Ravens win a close one. I'm going to call it 23-20.
Close us out, Kadeem. What you got?
So I am going to go with I'm
sorry. Brandon, did you say Ravens 23-20?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead, Kadeem.
Yeah, I was going to go with a Ravens 20, Dolphins 14 game. I think it'll be close. I think the Dolphins will, not to belittle them, but they'll have a good game. They'll do us proud. But at the end of the day, I think they'll just fall up short. I think, like you mentioned earlier, Charlie, and again, everyone is banged up around this time of year. But I think it'll be one game too many with the injuries. And I think that I have a feeling they're going to not play Ramsey. They're going to play like on the cautious side and say, listen, playoffs are here. Give that knee an extra week. And it's difficult because it's like, but if you could win this week, then you might get that bye week. But I don't know. I just think depending on how, I have a feeling they'll sit him or have him on a limited snap count. I think that this Ravens team, again, it's like what all three of you said. You can't really stop Lamar Jackson. You can contain him. But one of the special things he can do is punish the smallest mistakes. And it's a Dolphins defense, which basically they're always so close to getting a sack. And for most, it's like, boy, they kind of spin out of it and then they throw it away. Lamar Jackson's probably going to spin out of it. And then wherever you blitz from, you're going to run in that direction. So it's very much a case of the near sacks from Andrew Van Ginkel and Bradley Chubb are going to go from a near sack to a 10-yard gain. And it's going to be annoying. So, yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to run them close. It could be like a tie the game 14-14 or go up 14-13. and then the Ravens are going to drive down the field and keep it close. So no, it's going to be an interesting game. I don't think the Dolphins will win it, but listen, it'll be great if they prove me wrong. And before we hit the bonus time, a few more comments. So Eccentric Gnome said, Charlie and Kadeem should have Miss Finns on your show. Hooked Up Joe said +1 to that. Hammer says, what's up, guys? Fins up, Hulk, smash the like button. Keith says, to win, it has to come through the Fins D. I think it's more likely that the Crows win, but I think the Fins can win a close one, 24-3. Hammer says, I'm not worried about the Ravens. Dolphins aren't going to turn the ball over 5 times like the 49ers did. Keith said, what also can't happen is Chubb throw in the helmet if he misses a Jackson containment. Boji says, Lamar leads the league with 6 lost fumbles, and Chubb leads the league with 6 forced fumbles. Then adds Chubb has 10 sacks in his last 10 games. Also adds that Ravens are allowing 4.4 yards per carry. Let's see who is soft. Run the ball. Hammer says, by the way, hi, Aaron. Hey, Brain. Then says, was a bad joke, I guess. Says, what's up, Josh? Eccentric Gnome says, Pinky and the Brain. Robert Ashton said, no, it was good humor, just memorized by the brain. And then Boji said, essentially not sure about that, but it sounds good. Our entire front can get after it. 11, 8, 8, and 6 sacks each.
Wow. Yeah, they're that's a squad. Let me just say this, and I don't want to hijack things. Can I ask, have you guys seen Back to the Future Part 2?
I don't remember it. I've seen all the Back to the Futures. That's not one of them that's in the library though.
So in Back to the Future Part 2, or I'm sorry, Back to the Future Part 3, they're in the Old West. Okay, they're in the Old West, and they end up having to turn a train into the time machine. This is a spoiler alert, but I mean it's not a spoiler alert. The movie's 30 years old. If y'all haven't seen the movie by now, I can't help you. But so they're trying really hard. They got to find all of this stuff so they can get the train up to 88 miles per hour so that they can travel through time. If the Dolphins go and win this game on Sunday, you're not going to need any help getting the Miami Dolphins hype train to 88 miles per hour. That's all I'm saying.
Love that.
Bro, that's so good. I'm going to close it out with this. And I wanted to do some things on this side of bonus time, and I will. We're not going to have time for the giveaway that I wanted to do. We're going to do a giveaway game. We're still going to have a giveaway, but it's going to be a different question for the giveaway. The other one I think could have went on and on and on. But Kadeem, if you could pull up that picture that the drawing that Not the Best Drawings did for us. Kadeem Simmons was on Same Old Dolphin Show and came up with the name Tight Window Tour, and Not the Best Drawings came up with this piece of art, the best thing I've ever seen. Tight Window Tour. We're gonna get merch of this, and Kadeem did it on you guys' show. That was the first time he ever said it was on Same Old Dolphins. So we're gonna have some merch of Tight Window Tour, and we wanted to have the merch out a lot sooner than this, but unfortunately it hasn't happened. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because Not the Best Drawings, he's pretty active. Did another piece. He did the salt and pepper piece, Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins. If you could bring up the other piece, Kadeem, this is the piece he did. I guess he published it today. And when I seen it, I'm like, bro, this man is extremely talented. And he goes by Not the Best Drawings, but dude has the best drawings. And this is what he came up with this week. And if you're an audio listener, it says The Fin, and it says Edgar Allan Poe on it, and it's a like a skeleton dolphin eating a raven. Like it is poetic, it is profound. I loved it. This is probably one of my favorite pieces, and I just wanted to give the man credit on this side of the episode and not in bonus time. But Zach is a dude with his drawings, and I love this piece. But let's get into the giveaway real quick. And before I get into the giveaway, I will say this. There's a path for the Dolphins to win. And I forgot who said it in the comments. It has to come through the defense. This game is not going over 52 points. If it goes over 52 points, the Dolphins won, in my opinion. This is not going to be one of those games. This is going to be, again, under 43. I think the line is 42, 43. It's going to be under, in my opinion. And there's a path for the Dolphins to win this game, and it's through our defense because our offense is banged up, and the Ravens' defense is too good for you to come in with a banged up offense and try to win like that. So if our defense can do some damage to their offense, you can see some opportunities for our offense to just do it enough to get the victory. So yeah, this is why they play the games. Any given Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Games ain't played on paper, and I would love for us to come away with this W. And before we do get into the giveaway, I'll go ahead and with my the pick of the week, easy money pick of the week. They have Tua at a touchdown and a half. And the line for Tua touchdown and a half is plus 120, which is probably the best it's been this season. I have been inclined to take Tua over a touchdown and a half all season whenever I can get it, and it's only failed us like once that we've taken it, right? I think he's gone under a touchdown and a half maybe 4 times this year, something like that, but we've only taken it once out of those 4 times, right? And this line is really good. However, I'm still not taking it. Like, I don't know if Tua goes over a touchdown and a half because the way the script of the game is going to go. It's going to be a knock them out, drag them out. You get inside the 5, you're probably going to run it. It's cool to have on the ticket if you're going to, risk a same game parlay. That's not the pick of the week, though. Then you have an alternative spread where the Dolphins are minus 7.5. The line is 3.5 right now. But in order for it to be an easy money pick, it has to come in under minus 250. And this line, alternative spread plus 7.5 Dolphins, comes in at minus 235, which is good. Like, can the Dolphins cover 8 points? Close game, you hope so, right? But I see a game where the Dolphins might get beat by 13. You know what I'm saying? Or either get beat by 13 or win by 6, right? So my pick of the week, easy money pick of the week, is Tyreek Hill, alternative receiving yards, which his line is 99 over under 90 yards receiving, and that comes in at like minus 135, and you could take that and be happy with it. But I'm gonna still take something less than that, which is plus 80 yards receiving is all Tyreek Hill has to get to cash this out, and it comes in at minus 215, and that's the easy money pick of the week. Tyreek Hill is going to cash us out with 80 plus yards receiving, and we're going to get back minus 215, and that's the easy money pick of the week. So I wanted to get that on this side of the bonus time too. Let's get into this giveaway real quick. I had a super dope game, and we'll do it next. Maybe we'll do it for the playoffs, right? And plus, that type of game, you probably want to give something away a little bit better than what we were going to give away anyway. Like with that game, you're like, yo, this is awesome. So for this giveaway, between the 4 of us, I think, well, I already know the answer. So I'm gonna leave it to our guest and Kadeem Simmons. Kadeem kind of drops the ball here, fellas. So we're gonna phone a friends at the same old Dolphins, and maybe y'all can help him out. But look, Tua had 469 passing yards last game against the Baltimore Ravens. He threw. Can anyone tell me off the top how many touchdowns he threw?
6.
There it is. 6 touchdowns. Everybody knows it. But who were the touchdowns to? As a collective, can you guys tell us who the 6 touchdowns went to that Tua threw last season against the Ravens?
I think 2 were to Tyreek. I think were 2 to Waddle. I know Waddle. I'm pretty sure Waddle had 1.
Waddle had the
Waddle
game
definitely
winner for sure, because that's all over Twitter right now.
Definitely has that.
Was it
Mike Gesicki has 1.
I was going to say Gesicki. We get a River Craycraft in there.
Hey, that's a sneaky one. River Craycraft had one. River Cray, because that was the one That was the one where Waddle stepped out of bounds and he was like, "Don't throw it to me," and he threw it to River Craycraft. We are looking good right now.
Who got that?
So-
last one?
So we
you
got
said
as of right now, we got 2 to Tyreek,
yep.
1 to Gesicki, which was my favorite of all of them. 1 to Craycraft, and we have a debate of Waddle. How many touchdowns did Waddle have? Was it 1 or was it 2?
Was it 2?
Let's have a look. 6 touchdowns.
Hey, what's the music, Kadeem?
Oh, you're killing me. You are killing me here.
My bad, bro. So this is. I will give you this. We are in dispute. Which did Waddle get 1 touchdown in that game, and someone else got another receiving touchdown?
I thought he
Or
had
did
2.
Waddle get-
I thought he had 2.
I feel like
Josh-
maybe he had like a big one early in the game, and then he had one in the fourth quarter.
He had the game winner.
Yeah.
So is that what we're going with, fellas?
Hold on. Didn't
Is that 6? That's
Hold on.
Waddle, Hill,
Well, it wasn't Alec
Craycraft,
Ingold.
and Gesicki. Yeah.
I was going to say very quickly, who's the receiver that's now with, is it Buffalo?
Oh,
Trent Sherfield?
Did Trent Sherfield have a touchdown that game?
I feel like he might have. But if you guys want to go with Waddle having 2, I am happy with that.
All right, start the music. We're having a giveaway. Waddle had 2 touchdowns. Hill had 2
Hey!
touchdowns. Craycraft had 1, and Gesicki had another one. And that was he's got Waddle, and Waddle went over the top, got it, and then Waddle had the game winner. I'm glad y'all boys pulled that off. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up, man. We about to have a giveaway on the other side of bonus time. Before we get up out of here, you guys tell us where we can find you, Josh and Aaron. Tell us where we can find you. Appreciate you coming on, but tell the people where they can find you, man.
Of course. You can find me on X, which you can find at twitter.com, at Amplified to Rock. You can find every episode of the same. You can follow us at Same Old Dolphins, and you can find every episode of the Same Old Dolphins show on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed, because we get the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel is blowing up, man. We got a lot of different stuff going on over there. So make sure you're there. And every episode is also on dolphinstalk.com. So that's where you can find us.
Aaron?
You can find me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Aaron the Brain. And of course, on the Same Old Dolphin show, which again, you can find on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel or on dolphinstalk.com, where you can find our feed or our show on the main feed.
Hey, shout out to Keith B. Craycraft 400 is what we call him on this podcast. You guys ever heard the song Kerncraft 400? You know what song that is?
I don't know that song.
You heard the song, you just didn't know that was the name of it. It's the yeah, Kerncraft 400. So that's why we call him Craycraft 400. Quote the Raven Nevermore. We're about to get this W, hopefully. So y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Same Old Dolphins and Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Hey. Let's get the giveaway, Kadeem. We're giving a mesh Miami Dolphins strap bag. It's one of those bags, you fold it up, throw it on your back, little backpack. Giveaway right here. If you have commented on this episode,
you are killing me.
Yo,
You are kidding me.
Hold on. We don't have to do it right now, but we'll get the comments from this episode. I got you, Kadeem. If you have commented on this episode, you enter this giveaway. All right. And obviously, our patrons from Patreon automatically enter the giveaway. We don't have to do the giveaway today or right now, Kadeem, but we got to get these comments. So if you did comment, you enter the giveaway. Shout out to y'all. You got something for us for bonus time, Kadeem?
Yeah, very quickly. I want to say this at the top of the show, but I completely forgot because I'm doing so many other things. Shout out to Elijah Moore. Hopefully has a speedy recovery or a full recovery from the injury on Thursday Night Football. That looked absolutely gruesome. So yeah, shout out to Elijah Moore. Hopefully he is okay. I guess my thing would be, we kind of had a discussion at the start of the season, and people are kind of saying it now, and a few other names are kind of being thrown in the mix. He spoke about MVP, but comeback player of the year. I said at the start of the season, it's essentially DeMar Hamlin's. Like, he had to play one game and he was going to win it. He's played one game, hasn't really played much, but he's still like, I think, minus 100, 150 to win it. Some people saying it could be Tua, but Joe Flacco's kind of come out of nowhere. People saying it could be Joe Flacco. So I just thought interesting to get your thoughts on who you think will win comeback player of the year, and I guess the other two big ones in MVP and offensive coach of the year. Sorry, Charlie.
Since we entered the little extra point thing and I can invoke some other teams, I just want to say on this platform, I was wrong about Sean Payton. I wanted Sean Payton to be Miami Dolphins head coach before we got McDaniel. All right. And listen, I really did. I like, oh, what about Sean Payton? Let's see what he got. I do want to say this, though. I got off that train pretty quick. Before we even got into the season, I like, nah, bro, Sean Payton tripping. You know what I'm saying? He started talking in the media before he even got a job. And then I was off. But then now it's just like, yo, bro, Sean Payton, big tripping. But yeah, I'm going to go with coach of the year for me is D'Amico Ryan if the Texans make the playoffs. The Texans picked second overall, picked up CJ Stroud, the second quarterback taken. So he wasn't even a consensus first. And he's hurt right now. If you don't give D'Amico Ryan the coach of the year, the only other coach I could see in that conversation is what's your boy name? He's my boy for the Browns.
Stefanski,
Kevin Stefanski, right? Because you got the quarterback carousel, you got the Deshaun Watson foolishness, and they still not only make the playoffs. These boys might be 12-5 in the playoffs. So Stefanski going through 5 quarterbacks, I think, this year. I think that means something for coach of the year. As far as comeback player of the year, me and you have differed on this, Kadeem. There's a meme out there on Twitter, and it's some fun going around on it. And you know they have Tua on the ballot. They have a couple players on the ballot, and then they have DeMar Hamlin saying, "Yeah, but did you die?" You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we've seen the worst thing ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can see how DeMar Hamlin wins this. You will not get any pushback from me if DeMar Hamlin wins this. But I do think the comeback player of the year is Tua, when everyone said he should retire and concussions and he's not going to be the same and all this other stuff. And not only that, he leads the league right now in passing yards and other stuff, but just the most important, passing yards, and only 4 behind the leader in touchdowns. Like, yo, we have, in my opinion, the franchise quarterback. MVP for me, I think there's still 2 games left, and I still think it's undecided. So I can't even today. It could change. You know what I'm saying? So I can't give you MVP. Mess around. If Tua has half the game that he had last year against Baltimore, we win this week. Not saying he's the MVP, but we win this week. If he has 3 touchdowns, 230 yards passing, we'll win this week. I just don't see that happening against this defense with how banged up we are on offense. So MVP is still up in the air. My coach of the year is D'Amico Ryan, and my comeback player of the year is Tua. What about you, Aaron?
I think you got to give comeback player of the year to DeMar Hamlin. I just think, like, especially if apparently he cares about that award, so you just got to give it to him. There's just the dude died on the field
multiple times.
Yeah, for him, just to be alive is a blessing. The fact that he got on the field and played football, played snaps for Buffalo this year, like that's your winner. I mean, even you can make cases for Flacco, nice story. You can make the case for Tua. Obviously the concussions, and people were talking about, does Tua retire, and now he's doing what he's doing. But at the end of the day, Tua was, a borderline Pro Bowl quarterback last year. Like, he led the league in passer rating last year. So I don't know that he's, head and shoulders a better player than he was last year. He's just, he hasn't missed any games. But it's got to be Damar Hamlin. As far as coach of the year, I think Stefanski, with what the Browns have done the last couple of weeks, and getting into this position where they're vying for the top spot in the AFC, I think he's put himself in the conversation. I think a few weeks ago, you would not have even considered him. The one guy that I think, obviously DeMeco Ryans is there. The Houston has exceeded expectations this year, but may or may not be a playoff team. So I think that's to be decided. The way the Browns finished the season is to be decided. The one guy that I think has already stamped himself as in the conversation is Dan Campbell, because doing what he's done with that franchise, with where that franchise was just a couple of years ago when he took it over, I think is remarkable. And right now, he would be my leader in the clubhouse. But with 2 weeks to go, I think if the Browns win out, Stefanski has a really good case. And if Houston makes the playoffs, then DeMeco Ryan has a good case. But if the Browns lose either of these two games, Stefanski's out in my mind. If the Texans do not make the playoffs, then DeMeco Ryan is out. The one guy that's locked in with a shot to me is Dan Campbell. MVP, I completely agree. Just like coach of the year, a lot to be decided because it's wide open. It's really wide open. I do think that this is the year more so than any other year where it is ripe for the picking for a non-QB to win the award. However, if Lamar Jackson or Tua ball out these next 2 weeks, then I don't think that it's going to happen for a non-QB, unless Tua balls out, but it's like Tyreek Hill with like 150 yards a game or whatever he needs to get to 2,000. I still think Tyreek has a shot at winning the MVP. For me, though, I think the guy that's going to end up taking it, I think it probably will end up being Lamar Jackson that wins it, but keep an eye out for Christian McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey has a shot to win it.
What's you got, Josh?
The Damar Hamlin thing, if this was any other year, Joe Flacco is winning this award running away. Like, he's winning the award going away. Like, to be on the couch and show up and then be posting like the best numbers that he's put up. Like, I mean, guy's playing like lights out football right now. And granted, it hasn't been against the best competition, but he's still doing it. And to come off out of nowhere to do that it's unbelievable. It's a great story. And so I think he would be winning this award going away, but the Damar Hamlin thing is just its own thing. Obviously what happened, it's like, that's not really like typically what the spirit of the award is all about, but like, he literally, at the end of the day, because this guy's barely an active NFL player. Do you know what I mean? Like, before the injury, he was only playing because he was, the backup of a backup of a backup. And Buffalo's secondary was so racked that he, happened to make it onto the field. And even this year, it's the same situation. He's a backup of a backup. Backup is playing like limited special teams snaps, has been inactive, for most of the games. But the fact of the matter is he went through what he went through and we all witnessed it, And so therefore that changes the whole narrative. So of course he's going to get the award. It's not, it's just, it is what it is. And, I mean, it is an incredible story that this guy literally died on the field and was resuscitated and brought back to life and is able to get back to being able to even be a healthy and active is incredible. So that's an amazing story to take nothing away from him. So it makes sense that he's going to win that award. Otherwise, for me, it'd be Flacco. Coach of the Year, Brain just gave you the argument for Dan Campbell, leading the Lions to their first division title.
I can't do it. I can't do it, actually. I love Dan Campbell, too.
That's fine, but I also think Dan Campbell getting that award. It's also, look at what he's done since he took over the Lions. That's not just a this year award.
It is a this year award.
I'm just saying, but he would win that award because it would be a cumulative thing. It's like how Martin Scorsese finally won his Best Director Oscar because it was over a body of work, and I think that's kind of where it is with Campbell for me. Plus, Stefanski just won it like 2 years ago, and
I like Dan Campbell. He is my boy. I just think Dan Campbell can still drop the ball. And I'm gonna go to you, Kadeem, because we didn't get your opinion on it, on your own question. But I do want to plug this in here. My boy Jaron Hall is about to start the last 2 games of the season.
It's coming
for Minnesota, and there's a chance if Minnesota wins out the last 2 games, 1 game against Detroit, and the Rams lose 1 game, Jaron Hall is going to start a playoff game this year. Y'all going to hear about that for the whole offseason for me. But Kadeem, and again, that's why I think Dan Campbell can drop the ball on the Coach of the Year. I don't know. I think it's more impressive what D'Amico Ryan, the second team overall. Are they Texans? But bro, me and Sherrod C said Texans going to have a top 5 pick. You know what I'm saying? No one's seen this happening. A playoff team, the Texans? I don't know about that. Like, the Lions were supposed to win the division this year. There's no Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can't give you that. Like, so I love Dan Campbell. I just can't. I think the expectation I think the award means you have exceeded expectations. I don't think the Lions this season, although I do agree with you that is a cumulative thing with Dan Campbell, but they didn't exceed any expectations, in my opinion, this year. Like Houston and Cleveland and that Joe Flacco thing, bro. That's crazy. That's a movie.
Wild.
That's the Christmas movie.
But I think you could also say about D'Amico Ryan is that he lucked into CJ Stroud just being better than any NFL rookie playing quarterback had any right to be. Anybody had any reasonable expectation of CJ Stroud playing at the level that he played this year. Like, that's unbelievable.
For that too.
And what's that?
I'm saying, like, the coach for that. Like, I was about to say that.
What I would say is that Dan Campbell has stated his case, and because they have clinched a playoff spot and clinched the division, I mean, I suppose they could go out and they could somehow find a way into. I mean, I haven't really looked at the state standings to where the Lions' odds are to get, if they're even in the race for the number 1 seed. I suppose he could do that, but the thing is like with D'Amico Ryans, it's like, okay, well, if they make the playoffs, far from a given, and Stefanski. Well, if the Browns keep this rolling, because it's an unprecedented thing.
Browns could be the 1 seed.
They could be. And if they are, then I think that Stefanski and D'Amico Ryans have a shot to jump him. But if the Browns go out and lose the last 2 weeks of the season, yeah, they'll make the playoffs. But then it'll look like is, okay, he caught lightning in a bottle for a few weeks with Joe Flacco. The rest of the league caught up with it. No big deal. And so one guy that I think has already proven what he set out to do in that argument is Dan Campbell. And, maybe Mike McDaniel should get some love if the Dolphins should win out.
Yeah. So my only case against Dan Campbell and Mike McDaniel would be
expectations.
Yeah, I had the Lions winning the division this year. Like, that was a real thing. Like, there's the consensus. Maybe not the consensus had them winning the division, but I don't think anyone had Houston being 500, let alone a playoff team. So, Kadeem, what's your answer to your own question?
Comeback player of the year, Damar Hamlin. MVP. I think the MVP will be whoever wins between the Ravens and the Dolphins this Sunday. I think if the Dolphins win, it might go to Tua. If the Ravens win, it will go to Lamar Jackson. And then in terms of coach of the year, I think the favorites, in my eyes, are probably D'Amico Ryans and Dan Campbell. But if the Dolphins win out and we get the 1 seed, I think we'll go to Mike McDaniel. I know there's expectation that the Dolphins were going to be good this year. I don't think they were expected to clinch the 1 seed, given you got the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals, and I think
Bills.
from Bills, yeah. And I think the fact that they all spent half the season without Jalen Ramsey as well, it's kind of like, well, so no, I think that those are my 3 picks. Also, just completely randomly before we go, to everyone who's just joined the show, thank you for coming. Like, it's been amazing. Like, I'm literally watching numbers fly up. It is mad. So before we depart, smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a follow on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram.
Are you about to get up out of here, Kadeem? You about to get up out of here? Because I want to say one more thing for you. It sounded like you was about to moonwalk and the curtain was going to close. It sounded like you was working on it. But I want to say this. I think Tyreek Hill might not get 2,000, but I think he gets the record. I think there's a chance he gets the record. The record is 1,947, 42, something like that. So on his pursuit to like 2,000, which he might be short of, he might be like 50 yards short of the record, but 50 yards short of 2,000, but still get the record. And even if he comes up with the record, I think he could get MVP too. And he's like plus 3,000 right now for the MVP odds. That might be something everybody want to think today, not like at the beginning of the season. He's plus 3,000 right now for MVP odds.
There's one scenario, Charlie. There's one scenario where I see that as even a remote possibility, and that is Tua balls out in this game, and beats the Ravens on Sunday, but then the Dolphins fall flat and lose to Buffalo, but Tyreek still hits that record. That's the scenario. It's and I think just because that'll kind of water things down a little bit.
Man, I got to do this, and I know we was almost getting out. I got to ask y'all real quick because me and Kadeem had a whole episode on playoffology real quick, and I got to ask you to outside opinion. Obviously, all of us we could make the argument we don't quote unquote care about the record. We want the 1 seed. We want to win a division. We need home playoff games, stuff like that. I get that, but there's a world where the Dolphins could either be the 1 seed or. And you get the bye, you get people getting healthy and stuff like that. Or you could be the 2 seed where you play Houston first and send Buffalo to KC. And I'm going to ask, but I think I know the answer. But are you guys just, let me just get the 1 seed. I don't care about Buffalo going to KC or us playing Houston first. I think that's a pretty good constellation prize if Dolphins got Houston first, Jacksonville second, and didn't have to play nobody until the AFC Championship. That's crazy to me.
Nice consolation prize, but it's a consolation prize.
Right.
1,000,000% you need to get the number 1 seed because number 1, first and foremost, the bye week would be huge for this team because there's so many of these lingering injuries. And then secondly, this team needs home field advantage. Now, granted, if they're going to end up with the number 1 seed, it's going to mean that they will have beaten the Ravens on the road. So but if they don't get the number 1 seed, it will likely have meant that they did lose to the Baltimore Ravens on the road, which further underscores why this team needs to get home field advantage because they play so much better at home again than they do on the road, particularly against good teams because we've seen them lose at Buffalo, get embarrassed, get outplayed in Philadelphia. Refs aside, they still got outplayed in that game. The London game, technically a road game, or not London, Germany against the Chiefs, was technically a road game. I thought they were the better side in that game, but they still found a way to lose. This team needs home field advantage. They just do, especially if they end up having to go to Baltimore or Kansas City or hell, even Cleveland, and the weather is ugly. The way this team is built, the way that they play, it is. We can agree to disagree if you disagree, but I think this is at its core a finesse football team. I think they rely on speed and timing more than they do physicality. And so what's going to screw up your timing? a cold, messy, sloppy field, quarterback having to throw against the wind. That's not the way this team is built. This team needs good conditions. But you play these games in Miami, I'm loving our chances.
Hey, same old Dolphins. We appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. I'm gonna give it to Kadeem to get us out of here. I agree. We thought those injuries were they'll play in a real big game. When Dallas plays, you're gonna see all our players back. They were just resting, and then we didn't see them come back. So that told us that those injuries were significant, and we do need that. We do need that bye to get right. And I also add this: if you lose to the Baltimore Ravens right now, I think you beat them the second time around. You'd be healthier. Yeah, you could scheme up some stuff for a team that you just lost to, and I'm okay with that. Kadeem, get us up out of here. Hey, everybody hit that like button, man. Subscribe, rock with us. Go Time Dolphins. Appreciate that.
100%. And don't log off YouTube. Don't, put your laptop away, your phone, your tablet, all that kind of stuff. Head over to Dolphins Talk on YouTube. Make sure you are there for the live Same Old Dolphins show. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell them we sent you. Give them a hey, a hi, get involved in the chat, and we shall see you. Charlie, is it New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? When we go in as he's doing these live show, this is just embarrassing at this point. When we doing
I like it. I don't know. I mean, where you watching the game at Sunday?
At home. Ain't going nowhere.
I mean, maybe we go live after the game again.
Well, again, if you're subscribed, you'll know when. So we shall see you on the next one. Peace.